Sometimes just blue screen, it happens to the best.
Like 9 pop-ups just hit in, and they all have the red, the circle with the red X in them.
What have you been looking up?
You don't have to ask, They didn't give credit to Alfonso Ribeiro. That's the name I went for. And for some reason, the director, Alfonso Cuarón, that was the name I went with. And my brain went, that's not right. The guy that directed Gravity and Roma wasn't the one doing the dance to Tom Jones.
See, that's funny. You went that way and I went Y tu mamá también.
Okay. There you go. See, yeah.
There's like a trivia category here that's being slowly worked out as we speak.
Yeah.
You know what would be, and I just because it randomly came across my feed the other day, and I'm thinking if we ever get so desperate for content and we happen to finally get our streaming channel up, we could do this, is that somebody has a super cut. It's like 3.5 hours of just Jeopardy clues and answers, just back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
So basically our childhood.
Yes, kind of. Except they have 2 volumes now, so we could literally do like 7 hours of Jeopardy on a stream, and it would either be the greatest stream ever or the absolute worst thing to ever. It would be like slogging through waist-deep mud for anyone to watch. Either way, we should probably try it.
Oh, for sure. At some point in the future, maybe this year, I could see us doing that this year, like fall, like early winter 2025.
Oh.
I mean, the channel, not necessarily. Maybe
No. I'm just saying, like, they had to put all the posters up that we talked about now.
I think now's the time for sure.
What about the table tents?
We can hold off on that.
Okay.
Let's see how the first 1 or 2 go, and then we'll revisit that one. We'll table it for the time being.
You were really proud of yourself for that. Like, you were unfortunately proud of yourself for that.
You need to be honest. Did you mean to do that?
Absolutely not. The moment that I realized it was the moment that y'all realized that I realized it.
You had I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Snoogans.
More of whatever that bullshit is right here on the Fairly KickAss podcast. Oh no. Remember like 2 episodes ago when we had like our most professional episode ever? We were like completely on point. We all hit our marks. What happened?
We reverted to being ourselves.
We literally have like one of those episodes in us like a year. Yeah. I was gonna give us a little more credit.
That was at the 5-year anniversary episode. That was our peak. We will never hit those heights again.
So, I mean, we'll find something to be serious about next year. Until then, courage.
Clearly ain't going to be today, which is all well and good because this is more of a low-key episode. This is our monthly reviews that most of you are already familiar with. We go through, Jay and I, through the albums that released every month. We list our top 3. We list some honorable mentions. Kick it over to Dan for the newly charting top 40 singles of the month. There has been a lot of overlap between some of the albums and the charting singles. Curious, as always, to see if that is the case this month.
No, actually.
Interesting.
I had me a very quiet month. One of those months where kind of the same 3 songs have pretty much held sway. The top of the chart has kind of basically belonged to either Kendrick for like a quick second drink and then Gaga and The Weeknd.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much been it for the last 6 or 7 weeks, really.
All right.
It's been rare. I feel like ever since Not Like Us, I feel like, and it's, just dominance, like late last year, I feel like. Since then, I don't think we've seen that kind of level of stasis rather, on the charts. No,
things have been kind of stagnant since, it's about January. Things have kind of held sway. Mm-hmm. There have been surprises, obviously. We'll talk about that a little bit. Pleasant surprises. And hopefully you'll talk about about something that was a pleasant surprise on the album side of the chart as well.
Ooh. Yeah, that is I'm honestly not sure what you're getting. I'm very intrigued.
I have one thought,
Okay.
and I know, and it's in my honorable mentions. It didn't make my top 3. If it's the one I'm thinking of, guaranteed it's not one of the 3 that I put in the top 3.
Fair.
Yeah, I thought that I actually had what would have been that album for me, but what I didn't realize is I was actually getting ahead of myself, and said album that I was thinking of came out in
May 2nd.
as we sit here in May. So TBD for next month when we have the same conversation about said album.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't mean to spoil it then. Hold off.
Actually, 2 of them, but regardless,
At least one, probably 2.
for sure. But Jay, what about you? How did you feel overall about the album side of the house this month?
I felt weird. This was an odd month for me in that I felt like the stuff I was listening to was great, and then like I was really into it. Like it was really great, and then I went back and like tried to make my list, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to put any of these on a list.
We might have had a very similar list then. It was a lot of like okay stuff, a lot of decent to good stuff, but nothing. There was one. My number one was one of the favorite things I've listened to all year. I'll say that.
I'm relatively certain we have the same number 1 album.
I don't know.
I would not be surprised if we have the same number 1 album. Let's put it that way.
Well, just intrigue across the board for once.
Yeah.
After our last, what was it, the Billboard re-rank of 2009, where we all had the same number 1 song.
Yeah.
I am up for some dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, it would be good.
But yeah, go ahead and kick us off, man. Let us know what you thought for your number 3 album of the month.
Well, for my number 3, I'm relatively certain you won't have this one on your list at all. And it's a stark contrast to this artist's previous record, which came out back in February. Like a stark contrast. There's another musical identity. So this album, the one I'm talking about today, is Jane Remover, and the album is called Revenge Seekers. Back in February, Jane released an album under the name Venturing, which is more of a shoegaze record that they have dubbed Daria Core. This album, Revenge Seekers, is decidedly not Daria Core or shoegaze. Revenge Seekers is noisy, it's loud, it's full of raw emotion. It goes hard the whole time with their unique blend of microgenres. Far from the emo, far from the garage rock of Venturing, this is glitch, this is hyperpop, emo EDM. I don't even know what else you might want to call it. It's a blurred line, a heavily blurred line, and they're all battling for center stage. None of them ever really winning out. It's sort of a blistering experience. It's alleviated only slightly by the very playful lyrics that are bound to make Jane Remover a household name in the very near future. They've only been doing this for a handful of years, and already like one of my favorite songwriters of this year. For example, the intro track is called Twice Removed and sees Jane belting, 2 can play, but 2's a crowd, so there's 2 of me, I'm cloning out. That's just fun. That's awesome. Just great. Or on Experimental Skin, when they say, I taste all the past, present, future too. No such thing as bitter. This ain't nothing new. You walk the ground I kiss. Find me at the pad. Fuck, nowhere fast. Just fun. Also, the you walk the ground I kiss line might be one of my favorite things recently.
That's nice. That's super nice.
Yeah. The whole album is sort of like an unrelenting wall of sound that's really hard to stop listening to. If you're looking for something that is simultaneously familiar and groundbreaking, I would say Revenge Seekers is definitely for you. It's not for everybody. It's a violent listen. It's very much like in your earballs the whole time. But as it's the second record that Jane has made my top 3 in 2025, I'm excited for what's going to come next.
And you mentioned that they had a release in February of this year as well.
I believe it might have been January. It was earlier this year.
Wow.
Yeah, Venturing was it's the Daria Core shoegaze style, and then this one, which is not that.
Here it is. Yeah, it was called Ghost Holding was the release. That is a lot of output, because that's not like, we're not talking about like short EPs. No. Ghost Holding had 19 tracks on the physical release, 13 I guess digital, And then Revenge Seekers, I think, was over a dozen as well. Yeah, exactly a dozen. Right on. So that's super, super impressive output for anyone. I feel like we've talked about them at some point. Maybe not. Maybe it was when Ghost Holding came out. The whole Daria Core description very much like is seared into my head. I recall this.
Yeah.
Maybe I've listened to this and forgot it at some point, like earlier in the month. But yeah, it's from the sounds of it, it would be an interesting listen for me. It may not completely land for me, but at least I would appreciate the prowess and the goodness of the music, even if I didn't necessarily vibe with it.
I think you would. Like I think it's got a lot of like. So Jane with the Jane Remover moniker, they toured with like Trippie Redd and like that. There's definitely like an emo rap kind of bass layer to it, but then you add a whole bunch of fun production to it, like a lot of glitches, a lot of you'd have to hear it. Like it's a lot of musical subgenres all kind of slammed together.
Yeah, and also Danny Brown with the featured on the album.
Not my favorite track on the record. It's the second track. It's not my favorite. It's okay. I mean, it's good. I could do without Danny on it, truthfully.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting because I feel like he's one of those that would be like in the your favorite rapper's favorite rapper kind of pantheon, which is actually a fairly good segue into my number 3.
Yeah.
Who I feel like is maybe not quite there, but is well on his way to becoming that kind of favorite rapper's favorite rapper sort of title. But before we talk about him, we have to talk about the beats. We must talk about the beats on this album because they're like kind of Alchemist-esque, and y'all know that I love the Alchemist. Shout out Buffalo, shout out Griselda. However, this is like Alchemist with a tuxedo on. This is like Alchemist at the Met Gala with a monocle. Recent credits for this newish producer, at least new to prominence, working with folks, again, the Griselda connection with Benny the Butcher, as well as SD Knack, and now the aforementioned favorite rapper in training, Boldy James. It may not be long before producer V-Don starts receiving those analogies for comparing other producers to him, because both of them absolutely shine on Alphabet Highway. Boldy, for his part, his flow is consistent, but it's never boring. It's got wordplay that's just clever enough without going over the top. And I'm certainly a fan of over the top wordplay, as evidenced by my love of like Aesop Rock, for example. That wordplay is over the top. That wordplay is a lot. It's excessive. It's not bad. It's a stylistic choice. But I feel like Boldy's lyrics are exactly what they need to be for the song and for the beat. I feel like there's a lot of synergy here with him and V-Don. I think it all flows really, really well. Look at like Dr. Demento and Without Mention as two good examples of Boldy just doing his thing, just getting after it, lots of volume, lots of bars, and it just all sounds great. If you're more of a fan of the production side of the house, then look no further than Split the Bill, which has some of the best production, maybe the best production on the album, as well as Without Mention, which happens to be one of both V-Don's and Boldy James's best tracks on the album as well. I don't think y'all will be disappointed if you enjoy just really good flow, really good rap, and really good beats. Like this is definitely up your alley.
Right on. I did not. I saw that on my list, but I did not give it a listen. It sounds like I definitely should have.
It's one that it's not going to win awards. It's one of those that you're not going to be blown away with, but you're just going to come out of it thinking like, I just listened to a really solid, good record all the way through. Like one of those deals.
I can dig that. That's good.
Yeah, it's not a knock at all. I think I prefer that over like the albums where like the artist really goes in on like half the tracks and then half are like, but that's kind of ass though. Like, I'd rather just have 12, 14 tracks that are just good. So that's exactly what you're getting here.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah. Are you getting 12 or 14 tracks of just good on your number 2, Jay?
I don't remember how many tracks are on it. But no, I wouldn't call it just good. I was floored. And that is because it's been almost 4 years since Sleigh Bells released a record. The last one was called Texas. This one is called Bunky Becky Birthday Boy. Say that 5 times fast. The title track is it's a lot of fun, but it's a triumphant return. It's a vibrant addition to an already impressive discography. I wrote down, this is the lamest thing I've ever written. This album is a shot of pure adrenaline, seamlessly blending their signature noise pop sensibilities with a newfound clarity and focus. It's not really newfound. I don't know why I wrote that. The Texas was quite good, and Jessica Rabbit before it was also like clear and focused. This is just another addition to that. I actually prefer it to those previous 2 records, likening it more to their earlier stuff like Bitter Rivals or Reign of Terror. Maybe not as raw as Treats, but not far off. Bunky Pop is explosive. It's the album opener. Infectious hooks throughout the whole thing, but particularly in tracks like Badly. It's controlled chaos all the way through it. Invigorating and undeniably catchy. Alexis Krauss' voice is effortless, but still like very raw and very in your face. The production is all Derek Miller, and he is dynamic. It feels like, again, 4 years since their last release, and they feel more energetic on this one. They're pushing themselves. They're keeping those core elements that make them wild and attractive to those of us that like the weird, and captivating and accessible to a wider audience as well. I would say this album is sort of an essential album for longtime fans, but it's also it's a fantastic entry point if you're looking for something that is bold, exciting, and utterly unforgettable.
Yeah, I think when you said like weird but also accessible, like just thinking back and shamefully for me, like not only did I miss this release, but I've missed really every release of theirs since Treats.
Oh wow, dude.
I know. And I loved at least the big singles off of that album. Like I would certainly classify like Real as like weird but accessible at the same time.
Yeah.
The lyrics are bizarre in the best way, but it's like you mentioned Alexis Krauss's voice, always a voice that I have absolutely loved. And I don't know why I never really sought out any more of their stuff. Treats, by the way, came out in 2010. We're talking 5 albums since then that I have missed, including Bunky Becky Birthday Boy. So yeah, I need to get my shit together and get some Sleigh Bells listening in pronto.
Yeah, I mean, just throw in a couple of tracks here and there. Dot your playlists with this magical wildness that they bring.
I was picturing like any playlist, like lo-fi beats, a couple of Sleigh Bell songs, 80s R&B, a couple Sleigh Bell songs.
Exactly. Keep you on your toes.
I'm actually here for this. Going through every single one of my playlists tonight and adding a Sleigh Bell song.
Yeah, good call. I like it.
I already hate it. You know what I didn't hate?
Oh, good. You segued to yourself. I love it. Let's do it.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Yeah,
it's year 6 now. I'm stepping it up. And it's actually a really good segue because we're talking about another artist that I have been very, very late to the party on. Which is unfortunate because this particular artist is actually wrapping up shop here in the very near future. This album is going to be their last album. They have a tour upcoming, I think May through September. And after that is the end of Tennis. A band that I came to know very recently. It was before this month. It was maybe like earlier this year, January, February, somewhere around there. And did not realize that they, much like Sleigh Bells, have been releasing music since the early 2010s with their debut album, Cape Dory, coming out in 2011. It was absolutely delightful. The album that they released in April was called Face Down in the Garden, their 7th studio album, and again, their final studio album. Absolutely delightful, good indie pop from a good indie duo. Lots of duos so far. That's kind of unsettling. 3 of our 4 choices so far have been duos.
Yeah.
Married couple Alina Moore and Patrick Riley, specifically making up the duo of Tennis. It is dreamy indie pop, but not so much that the dreaminess becomes the thing, quote unquote. But rather, it's just a part. It's just the backdrop. It's just the scenery to a lot of these tracks. Also, a thing is really great lyrics. I know you mentioned some of the lyrical selections from Jane Remover, and I had one from this album as well, from the twinkling 1970s tinged At the Wedding, where Alina sang, "At the hotel, couldn't help but hear the party spill out onto the patio. Their voices held in midair like a promise that nobody here would be getting a little bit of sleep." Like, just fun. Like you mentioned with Jane Remover, just fun lyrics.
Yeah.
But kind of poetic in a way as well. Just really well written, really tightly performed indie pop. The regrettably first song I've ever heard from Tennis was the song Sister on this album, which was one of my favorites. 12 Blown Tires, also absolutely amazing. Poetic and instrumentally pleasing in equal doses. Definitely an album to catch if you can, and a band to catch if you can. Again, May through September, several cities on the tour. Check it out if it's in your area. They're coming to Nashville, and I am very strongly considering going. It's the timing's going to be weird just because some other things going on. But if I do have the time free that day, I am going to make the trip out to see them. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Was super happy with that I was able to find it.
Yeah, I've never heard of them, and now I regret not having heard of them.
I think you would dig them. I really do.
I think so too. Is there any indication of why they're ending? Like why they decided it's their final?
Nothing that I can see necessarily. I don't know if it's, acrimony necessarily, or just like we've been doing this for 15 years and we're moving on, to bigger and better. Maybe there's another project down the way. Let's see. Yeah, there's stuff. I think Stereo Gum had a good article about it. It's a pretty lengthy quote, so I won't mention it here. But nothing that seems, at least, to be any kind of like negative thing between the duo. Just maybe we're over this. We're ready for the next thing.
All right, cool.
Did not have a chance to listen to any of the older stuff yet. It is certainly earmarked, so I can't vouch for it, but I can't imagine an artist or an act like this would stray too far from the equation. So I think even the older stuff is just going to be, similar, maybe not as polished, maybe not as good sounding as every band is, but I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, that sounds good. You know what else sounded pretty good?
What's that, Jay? What's that?
The stuff that almost made my list.
Nice.
Sounded pretty good. Good Lord. Okay, so let's start with I got a handful of things here. I'm going to start with the ones that were not surprisingly very good, but different than I expected. And that would be Joe Keery of Stranger Things fame and TikTok popularity. His album, The Crux, is basically an homage to everyone who inspired him to make music. And every song is a little bit different, but there's a lot of there's a little Bowie in there, and there's a little Freddie Mercury in there, and there's he's all over the map on this record, and I'm here for it. It was all very well done. It almost made my list. Like if I had to say 3A and 3B, this one would have been 3B.
Nice.
It's right there. So everybody do yourselves a favor. He's growing as an artist in a way that is really cool, showing his chops. In that same vein, my 3C would have been the album Withered by David, another artist who's very young and becoming quite polished in what he's doing. It's a very good record, very pretty record, a little samey over the course of the album, which is why it didn't make my top. But the songs are very well written. They're very good. His voice is wonderful, and the production is awesome. So no notes. Now let's get into some interesting other stuff. The Spin Doctors dropped an album in 2025. It's called Face Full of Cake. It's good. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I have questions.
Yes.
Is it another, how I mean, how much of a jam band record is it?
Not jammy at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's very like late 90s pop rock radio accessible. Like throw it in. I mean, there's a little more like guitar work going on
Sure.
than what would have been in the late 90s pop rock radio. But no, it's very straightforward rock record. Quite good.
Okay. I'm interested. Like, I'm trying to think of a fight. Like, so it's closer to Pocket Full of Kryptonite than Turn It Upside Down?
Oh, much closer to Pocket Full of Kryptonite than Turn It Upside Down.
Then worth giving a chance. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
in that same vein of, they released a record in 2025. It's Billy Idol and his album Dream Into It. He's showing his age a little bit, but he sounds amazing.
Wow.
The age showing comes in lack of effort in lyrics. Now, I will grant you that his stuff was never like gonna win awards for its poetry. Some of the lyrics on this album are quite terrible. Case in point, okay, so the song is called John Wayne, and it's "'Cause I am not afraid and I won't go down in flames 'cause nothing's gonna be the same. And everything you know, you keep inside your soul 'cause tonight I'm gonna be John Wayne."
I dig the shit out of that.
Do you? Because I don't know what to do with that.
It's nonsensical, but I absolutely dig it.
None of it makes any sense at all.
Mm.
That album also, I think that's the same song that has Alison Mosshart on it. There's some cool stuff on the record. It's a Billy Idol album. It's very fun. It's nifty. Not anything that is going to set your world on fire lyrically. Then there's some other stuff like the Melvins released an album with their original 1983 lineup. Album's called Thunderball. It is totally worth your time. It is totally a Melvins album. If the songs on this record weren't either only 2 minutes or 13 minutes long, I think I would have had an easier time listening to it. You kind of have to take the album as a whole, is basically what I'm saying. Like it's an art piece. And you kind of have to take it as a whole, which is why it didn't make my top 3 this time. In another month, I might have changed my mind, or just another mindset. It's a wonderful record. And then lastly, I have a band called Goose that I'd never heard of before. And that was another like fun rock record. It's called Everything Must Go. And Machine Head dropped an album called Unatoned. And that was it's the only like super hard act in April that I really enjoyed the album. And I love Machine Head. Those guys are great. Yeah. So no notes. How about you? What almost made your list?
So as I kind of scrolled through, there were quite a few things that I had missed. The Billy Idol album was actually one that I was kind of afraid to listen to, because it's like, I don't want this to be bad and, kind of ruin the whole vibe, the whole thing. So I didn't listen to it. David was another one. Yeah. I'll check it out. David was another one that I didn't get a chance to hit. I did have a few that I did hit. Not all good. There's a lot of not good on my honorable mentions. And maybe not for the reasons that are usually not good, but I'll start with Adrienne Lenker of Big Thief, who had a live album. And I usually don't rank live albums at all anyway. This one's called Live at Revolution Hall. The sound quality is awful. It is absolutely awful. Adrian is maybe like somewhere between 30 and 600 miles away from the microphone at all times. It is unlistenable, which is a shame because Adrienne Lenker is amazing. Big Thief is awesome. And I really wanted, I tried so hard. It's like, maybe it gets better. It didn't get better. So just listen to other Big Thief albums instead, just to fill that gap for yourself. Third wave emo darlings Mayday Parade had an album that came out called Sweet. It was not. The album title lies. Part of what made Mayday Parade so great was the 1-2 punch of lead vocalists Jason Lancaster and Derek Sanders, both bringing their unique sounds to each track. Lancaster departed the band right after the release of their debut album, A Lesson in Romantics, which is fabulous emo, by the way, absolutely fabulous. I figured it was going to be hard to fill in that sound, and it was. Sweet is just very plain, very emo by numbers. Maybe it would have hit that nostalgia kick if not for the kind of resurgence of emo music, especially over the last 18 months, 24 months or so. So there's plenty to scratch the nostalgia itch without needing this album in it. So definitely one that you can give a pass to. In the same vein of the Spin Doctors released an album, LA Guns released an album.
Yeah.
I think Dan is done. He's off the show. He can't do it. Which is the correct response, by the way.
I blue screened again.
Yeah.
It was called Leopard Skin. Of course it was called Leopard Skin. I mean, if you like LA Guns in the mid 80s, then this is LA Guns in the mid 80s in 2025. That's exactly what it is. So you'll like it. For the other 99.9% of us, we can safely give it a pass.
I think they're on tour with Tom Kiefer right now.
Ooh, that is one that I will be as far away from as I can get. Oh, shit.
I have a story about that guy, but it's not for right now.
That'll be on the Patreon whenever we have one.
Yeah.
If you ever asked yourself, like, what if Juice WRLD, but like the worst? Dave Blunt's, folks. The album's called You Can't Say That. He shouldn't have said any of it. It was a train wreck of mumble emo, indie emo, whatever, indie rap, whatever you want to call it. It's just fucking terrible. There was an album by Duckworth called All American Fuckboy, which was the best album title of the month, by the way.
Yeah.
It was a theme album told from the point of view of, as you guessed, a certified fuckboy who is basically chasing after a woman while also trying to tell his current woman why he's not able to see her or talk to her. It was actually really good. It was, in a weird way. It was kind of like what I wanted Dave to be from, or Penith from yeah, that was what this should have been. Lil Dicky, thank you. I cannot think of his name. Yeah. That's what this should have been. It was actually really, really enjoyable. And then one more that I actually did like, Jensen McRae, called I Don't Know How, But They Found Me. This would have been my 3B if I had one. Very similar to like Tracy Chapman to Joy Aladakun. Jensen is younger. I think this is her second album release, but definitely want more of that. It's really, really good, really warm sound. Great vocals, great range, really awesome album.
Cool. I didn't hear that one either.
Just for clarification for my brain, the album is called I Don't Know How, But They Found Me.
Yes.
It is not by the band I Don't Know How, But They Found Me.
Oh, I didn't know there was a band called I Don't Know How, But They Found Me.
All right, just making sure. We're okay, cool. I'll share more later.
Collab in the future, y'all? I mean, we need it now.
That's a good list. I think we covered all the ground here.
Almost all the ground. We still
we've got one more ground to cover each.
Yeah, maybe the same ground. We'll find out. Go ahead. And, hit us.
I would argue that your number one album title of the month is incorrect because my number one album has the number one album title of the month. And because of what we do here, constantly listening to like what is happening in the moment, like right now, like we tend to be talking about those who are at the top of the game right now. Kendrick, J. Cole, I'm sure there's others. But it is truly something when the all-time greats show them how it's done, son. Wu-Tang Clan might sound dated to young ears, but working with producer Mathematics has given their new album, Black Samson the Bastard Swordsman, a fresh flavor. There are even a couple of tracks on here that shift gears entirely, like Claudine featuring Method Man, Ghostface Killah, and Nicole Buss, ditching the playful style that they're known for in favor of like a surprisingly heartfelt tune about losing your mom. It's not something we get from Wu-Tang very often. But even that tune keeps with this blaxploitation homage theme that just pervades the entire rest of the album. It is the first record with the whole Wu-Tang clan, the whole crew, since that incredibly famous yet largely unheard Once Upon a Time in Shaolin that I believe is currently on display in Tasmania, I think, in Hobart. Honestly, if you put Inspecta Deck, Raekwon, Method, Ghost, Capadonna, You Got on any record in any combination, I'm in. Throw in a host of guest spots, and you have a powerhouse of a record that probably won't do as well commercially as it should, but will be in my rotation for the foreseeable future. My favorite track is probably Warriors 2 Cooley High, which features Method Man and Griselda member Benny the Butcher, frequent flyer on this podcast.
It's true.
It has easily the most annoying beat on the record, but the patter is unrelenting. It's fun. The song is funny, and it just feels like it ends far too fast. That goes for the album as a whole. Like you once you're started, it's like, oh, holy shit, it's over. I've just been jamming out, having fun the whole time.
It's the best kind of album.
Right?
Do you want to know when I came to know of the existence, or at least to be remembering of the existence of this album?
Well, I guess so. I guess I could take a guess at it, but you're finding out right now, aren't you?
About 10 minutes ago, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sad.
So it was actually
Very sad.
It was actually released back on Record Store Day. It had like a limited run. It was only available on Record Store Day. You had to go to the store to get it. Wasn't available on streaming services.
Finally,
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, finally was available on streaming services like shortly thereafter. Like it took a couple of weeks difference. Like it was a limited run. Now it's available on streaming.
Would it be in poor taste if I changed my list to make an album that I did not listen to my number one album of the month?
I mean, if you're talking about Wu-Tang Clan and mathematics with Black Samson, the Bastard Swordsman, yeah, I'm here for it, but I still want to hear what you put at your number one record.
Yeah, it's not this. It should have been. And that's nothing at all against my number one album, which I really loved, but come on. Come on. So, yeah, I will be sprinting to listen to this as soon as we're done here. But at the very least, that means the listeners can get a couple of different vibes from the number one albums between the two of us. And my number one album is nothing like the Wu-Tang Clan. Nothing. It's the opposite side of the spectrum, two opposite sides of the spectrum, because it's kind of two albums in one. Or rather, an EP and a slightly longer EP, both mashed together. So the first part of this was an EP released back in October of last year. The first 4 tracks basically make up that EP. So you may have heard of already, you, Jay, and Dan, and you listeners. But they fit so perfectly with the other 9 tracks, despite being a different sound. They are very complementary, so it actually works well. That EP was called Sable back in October 2024. This release called Sable Fable. Fable presumably making up the last 9 songs of the release of one Justin Vernon, aka Bon Iver. You have the stripped down, folky, introspective gut punch that is the Sable portion, especially things, and Speyside. Both of those were just like, man, I need a second after listening to these tracks. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot going on. Justin is such a layered storyteller and a very vulnerable storyteller, and that's on parade throughout the album, but especially the first 4 tracks. Then you get to the more smooth, soulful Fable side of the house, which is more showing off of Bon Iver as artist, sure, but also as producer, which I don't know that he gets enough credit for being an artist or a producer, but he's fantastic in both arenas. Lots of fun vocal effects, lots of really nice beats, really showing off his chops, and with subtlety too. I mean, none of these will beat you over the head with a hammer, but they're enough so that you know that they're there and that you know that they're good. You got the upbeat, quintessential happy sounding sad song called Day One, featuring Dijon and Flock of Dimes. Great track, absolutely great track. Speaking of feature artists, the lovely Danielle Haim is fabulous on If Only I Could Wait. And everything else is just very much in lockstep. I feel like they're different enough that folks might gravitate towards one piece of this puzzle or the other. Both of them just happened to hit me where I needed for this month. And it was Up until about 12 minutes ago now, it was a very easy selection as my number one album of the month.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, I don't know how I just overlooked it. It was just right there on the list and just zoom right past it. But
yeah, how do you look at Wu-Tang Clan and not immediately hit play?
Immediately. But still a good month overall, even despite that. So no complaints at all. Sable Fable was fabulous.
Good. I don't remember listening to it, so I must not have. I feel like if I like along the same lines, like if I had seen Bon Iver on the list, I feel like I would have clicked it. But I remember seeing it, so I must have listened to it, but I think I must have been sleepwalking because I don't remember it.
You know, I have that all like every single month. I have those that like I know I listened to this. I couldn't tell you a thing about it.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing either. It's just there's so much going on. It's hard for an album to really stand out.
Yeah. It happens. Also, I wanted to call out, I think the one I meant to point out was the one I think Dan is going to talk about. I thought David would have charted some. But I don't know that for sure. So I'm going to look over to Dan's side of the room here and see if he can fill in that gap.
That wasn't it, but I'm partially wondering if it might have just, even though it was released in the last Friday of the month, if it just fell into your May lists.
Maybe.
Because Skeletor, the sixth album from Ghost, debuted at number one on the top 200. The thing I wasn't ready for was the fact that it was the first Swedish artist to make number one on the top 200 since Ace of Base.
Wow.
I mean, it's only been 30 years.
Well, you know.
So I'm very surprised that it hit number one, truthfully.
When I said it debuted at number one, I was shocked.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's wild.
Not that it wasn't a good record, just that I'm surprised that it got all the way to number one.
Yeah. Maybe the world is ready for metal again.
Perhaps.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, Sleep Token's charting now too, so we'll see.
Yes, it is. More on them next month.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Oh, duh.
right.
I also wanted to throw some numbers because we talked briefly about how the big top of the Hot 100 has stayed relatively stable over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
And let me explain to you the numbers exactly why, because it's all Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Luther has been the number one song of the land since March 1st. That is 11 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
And this is my chance to play trivia with the two of you, because only one other track co-billed by male and female acts has spent longer at number one of the Hot 100. They did it in 16 weeks, beginning on December 2nd, 1995. Any recollection of what that song could have been?
One Sweet Day.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say that was my first guess. My second guess, if that wasn't, it was going to be Scream, but I didn't think that made number one that long.
Oh, that would have been a really good guess.
One Sweet Day spent 16 weeks atop the Billboard Hot 100. And honestly, it seems like Luther has a good chance to break that run.
Wow. Because I think, if I remember correctly, One Sweet Day was dethroned by Despacito, maybe? If memory serves. Just overall for like the most consecutive weeks at number one.
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah.
But neither here nor there. Just
I'm sure
Billboard trivia is fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do some of that eventually. Someone will correct us if we're wrong.
Of course.
And a little later on, you'll tell us exactly where. Because of that, though, there wasn't a whole big pool of stuff to work with this month. And by that, I mean there was all of 14 songs.
Holy shit.
Yeah, not the typical, like I said, they're just not volume coming out. Nobody's album came out and dominated like they have in the past couple of months.
Well, I'm hoping there's at least one song you're about to talk about. So, but I'll let you get to that.
I'm pretty sure I am, but we'll get there in a second. If you haven't heard the format before, I do some good, then I go to bad, then I do the really good. So let's start with some good and an honorable mention. And I'm not even using my words to tell you about Miley Cyrus and End of the World, which is awesome, because I'd love to say something profound, but Well, it's a bop. It's an utter bop. But Stereo Gum already summed it up perfectly. It's, quote, a disco-inflected anthem about partying during the apocalypse, a classic pop song topic that only gets more relevant, end quote.
Real.
Love it.
Super real.
When we go over our lists to try to name a song of the summer this year, End of the World will definitely be under consideration.
I do love the music video, like the effect, like that kind of 70s effect where there's kind of like a glow, kind of like a dispersion. It's very golden. There's a lot of
Right.
gold, and it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yes. Which takes us to our top three, and we'll start with a reminder that the pop world is, in fact, still ruled by the Swedes, just maybe not on the album side, but specifically Max Martin. And the latest proof of that comes in the form of Twilight Zone from Ariana Grande. It is a softer, sweeter synth pop song that shows off those ethereal qualities in Grande's voice. Twilight Zone's a perfect airy pop song. It sounds delicate while maintaining enough of a solid beat there that you keep, just bouncing your head along with it. It holds some surreal qualities, but the synths seem to ground it to where it's not too far gone. Yeah, and I mean, and I don't want to get into try to speculate about the subject of the lyrics. There's a lot of that out there already. I'll just leave that to TikTok. No need to get that here. Who have already had a field day trying to figure out who or what this is all being written about. But it is, in fact, well written enough that its introspection stays highly relatable. I mean, there's a commentary on some sort of relationship, and it can fit into almost any mold you need, which makes a good pop song because naturally anyone can get something from it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see when we did it. We did an unsung episode on Max Martin, specifically just kind of going over how much emphasis he's had. I think that was before he ended up breaking the record for most number one hits by a producer on the Billboard Hot 100. Fairly easy to do when you work with acts like Ariana Grande. It helps. It helps.
Yeah. I mean, also fairly easy to do when you work with literally everybody.
Fair.
For about 30 years now.
Yeah, bro is super connected and is super good at what he does, as evidenced by that. Yeah, very few misses for I feel like for either of them. I think we've talked about maybe some of Ariana's misses in the last several years of this podcast, but
yeah.
But overall,
like, yeah, not too many of them.
Right.
And I can think of literally only one song of hers that is completely unredeemable. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty good considering, I mean, she's been doing it longer than a lot of you probably imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you got towards the top? Because that was number 3, we're going to number 2.
Yeah, and I'll be ready to duck down the line here too, so you can go ahead and tell us where to send the hate mail later. Because number 2 brings us to a point where your comeback needs a comeback. Sometimes you miss with your first shot, so you do the second single. And Lizzo's done that with the second single from her forthcoming album. At number 2 is Still Bad, and I am absolutely in the minority that feels that this is her true comeback after last couple of years of legal issues. And yeah, Love in Real Life, which was the opening shot, was rather mid. Still Bad brings back more of that looseness. And I feel the energy that made Lizzo what we knew her for. You start off with a disco 7 Nation Army.
Okay.
Totally good with that. Didn't know that's what I needed, but here we are. Well, it follows it's literally at its base just pure disco pop. And it's another of her messages of positivity when it comes to pushing back the negativity. It directly sounds like a breakup rebound song with the line, "I don't need him, I need a drink," transitioning us into a chorus. And admittedly, the writing's a bit simpler than her past smashes. However, I mean, again, the song sounded good to me. That's all I needed. There's plenty of backlash on this song and her still, and for her output since coming back. I'm hoping that Still Bad coming here on my rankings isn't me subconsciously trying to push some sort of critical balance in the critical force, but I honestly enjoyed it.
Good. I haven't listened to it yet, so I can't comment.
I was going to say, it's not not being well received. So I may be, again, maybe that one guy that was like, I mean, I laughed a couple times during Borderlands.
Walton Goggins would like to have a word with you.
As long as it doesn't involve the White Lotus, apparently.
Like, it's the comeback is so hard, and especially the comeback with baggage is tremendously harder. And I think what has happened and what has been done and what has been alleged has been talked about ad nauseum pretty much everywhere else. So yeah, whatever that was or was not, at least there is something here that she's trying to do. So
and not to toot our own horn too much, but to our credit, we generally do attempt to keep things when we come into reviewing the music to just that, reviewing the music, and try not to do all the other stuff surrounding a certain artist.
I don't do that very well.
That's not. I was going to say I said that, and then I remembered that I once wrote 4.5 pages on Aaron Lewis's song about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
there are certain artists.
There were direct reasons that it went that way.
Yeah. So what else you got?
Crap is what I got from here. Remember?
Yeah.
Up, but before up, down.
Mm-hmm.
Your dishonorable mention belongs to two people. Probably not going to talk about in the future. Sam Barber featuring Avery Anna and Indigo. It's a country hit. Hopefully you could feel those quotation marks. That's just sitting there. I mean, it is a song of two heartbroken exes where the breakup has apparently affected poor Sam so much that he's been affected vocally, in so much as I don't know if he got off of the same note for the majority of his part of the song. Like, he just sang the note louder or softer, but that doesn't actually constitute a change in tone. If it helps explain where and how of this one, it was a TikTok hit when it was released last October, and finally made radio in February, and finally hit a chart in April. And in the time it took me to explain this song's journey to this, I've already forgotten literally everything about it.
There are a lot of songs like that in the country sphere nowadays that are here and gone just in a whisper.
Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can think of a handful of artists who have been in a very similar spot, who we've come up with and have not heard hit the chart since again.
For sure.
Like I said, though, not alone. Let me get number 12 out of the way pretty quickly because it's Ballad Nothingness just pushed it down. In a different month, maybe, Morgan Wallen's Just In Case probably doesn't get noticed and like fades away somewhere in the bottom third. Not offensive enough to warrant a rant, but not decent enough to completely escape scrutiny. That's what we got here.
Yeah.
The fourth single off the upcoming I'm the Problem. It's there. It's there. I will give it this. Wallen uses some interesting vocal phrasing, but that is not enough to really make it much of anything memorable. I mean, Shawn Mendes uses interesting vocal phrasings quite a bit, and he's a lot of trash.
And I would also question whether or not someone who's past insipidity, is that a word?
It is now.
Been so insipid in the past that I would wonder whether or not that interesting vocal delivery is intentional or accidental.
Well, it's possible. Do you know what the redeeming quality of this song is, though?
What's that?
It's over in 2:46.
Ooh, like it. I like it. Now, to play devil's advocate here, Wikipedia does list this as a contemplative ballad song. And I want to know from your point of view, Dan, if you feel that the 8 songwriters involved in this song really brought out the contemplative ballad sort of vibe to you.
No.
Fair enough. The expected answer.
I don't know what else to like. The problem is we're sitting here and I've listened to it multiple times within the last several hours, actually, is trying to finish my thoughts. I don't know what they were contemplating. I can't recall what the emotion I'm supposed to feel listening to this song is, unless I just go with the stock standard she done left me beer, tractor, whiskey. Like, that sounds like I'm doing nothing but stereotyping, but that is literally what the man's career has been.
Yeah.
Watch out for that chair.
Tractor. Sorry, I was just writing that down. I think we got something here.
Yeah, no, if you can somehow work, like I said, if you can work in a chair throw in the middle of, if I'm even thinking of the same guy, if he's the one that chucked the chair over a bar balcony. And
Pretty sure, yeah.
It's about 40 minutes from here where that all went down.
It all becomes a blur at this point.
Yeah. As will the rest of his career, as has the current part of his career.
I fucking hope so. Yeah. Like, you'd like to think, but hold, please. Moving on. It should come as no surprise that many times over the course of reviewing songs, I have heard something. One of my only reaction to the song is, what now? Which was the case when I first heard Azizum from Ed Sheeran. Wait, what are we doing here? Look, I'm sure that there's a lot that someone far smarter than I could say about the blend of Persian influence in the song, and as well as Sheeran defending the appearance of said influences from accusations of whitewashing and something billed as a cross-cultural collaboration. And the internet has definitely had its say, and I am staying out of that one. I will add that what is in a month with the small output of new hits, as we've talked about, it falls all the way down for being extremely meh. Which, I mean, maybe is not completely fair, because there's energy here, quite a bit actually, and which is a nice change of pace from a lot of the Subtract and Autumn Variation stuff. But and Sheeran is defending it and basically said, "Look, I make music that I like. I had fun with this one, so I put it out. And you know what? More power to you. That's fine." But, bro, it's Youngblood with new instruments. That's it. You turn the song on, and I hear 5 Seconds of Summer. Yeah, I couldn't get past that one. And once I finally remembered what the song that I was looking for in my head was called and who did it, which could and or should be the most damning criticism of all. Okay.
Here we go.
I feel like you're going to take a trip with me here. And I may be driving us the wrong way down a one-way street, but you know what? Just go with me. I'm going to bring a lot of stuff full circle, and it shouldn't be brought full circle. I almost feel bad because I have lost count the number of times that this guy has found himself here in this spot on my list. Almost. I'd feel a little worse if he didn't keep consistently putting out the most mediocre of country music and doing it at a pace that almost keeps up with the 2021-22 output that King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard had for themselves. But there is one very pronounced reason that the fifth promo single for Morgan Wallen's upcoming 37-track Magnum Krapos, I worked out that. That's the best I could come up with. I'm the Problem is the worst charting single of 2025. And let me defer just a little bit. 5 singles before the fucking record comes out, and there's still 32 songs you haven't heard yet.
He's the worst.
Clearly, he's the bottom of the list. And that's because I'm a Little Crazy is step 1 on the short but very murky and sloppy path to Am I the Only One? No, it is in fact never a good thing when your song can be decidedly proto piece of shit, but Wallen pulled this off. So musically, it's a filler country song, really. It's him and a guitar, and not much else. In any other avenue, it is there to soak up 3 minutes on the record with a change of pace. Something to alter the mood a little bit, maybe. Maybe slow it down at the flow that you're putting, if you're putting that much thought into your pacing on the album. Which, to his credit, might actually be the case, as this is purportedly the album closer, taking us out on a slow note, taking us out on something that we're supposed to be pensive with. But it's those lyrics. Oh, and co-written by Hardy, which makes a lot of sense here, actually.
Yeah, that tracks.
Those lyrics draw too many parallels for comfort to the officially worst piece of shit that I have reviewed in the last 5 years. It does have one foot in the retrospective and one foot in the old man yelling at clouds world. So let me make it clear. I am not drawing a direct line between these two artists. Somehow, Wallen seems to be pretty far behind in the asshole contest of life, which is saying a whole lot about Aaron Lewis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd almost be willing to chalk this one up to more of an interpolation on Mind playing tricks on me if it weren't for just a couple of things that draw Wallen's protagonist closer to Lewis than Scarface. The most blatant one is in the outro. I may be reading way too much into like 2 lines. I know, I get it, sure. As he finds himself yelling at a TV that ain't listening in a world where no news is good and won't change. He's non-committal about what's on the TV, but he is essentially screaming what the fuck at his TV. It is a much, much softer critique of the world with no specifics, which is to his credit. He may be crazy, but the world's insane. Why? Yeah, he's smart enough not to say. He keeps it applicable to all listeners and doesn't force the political world directly into it. Yes, I am happy that Morgan Wallen did not release a song calling for the removal of Confederate statues. Insane. But also, and at the same time, I feel like we're very close to the in-between-the-line stuff going in that direction.
Yeah.
More so than the look of the inner pain that I'm hoping was intended. That's all. So the critique might be all speculation. And I might be reading too far down the rabbit hole, but
I doubt it.
There's some arrows pointing down that path. I don't like those. They may be drawn in chalk, but I don't like the fact that they're drawn. So otherwise boring single with some possibly very off-putting potential in a month where not a whole lot of new was added to the pool sees I'm a Little Crazy sink to the bottom like a sack of doorknobs.
Now, I'll at least say that, like, as far as the outro goes and the reading between the lines, that question of like what's on the TV that ain't got ears that he's screaming at, certainly listeners and y'all, you have your own thoughts, you have your own ideas. In my head canon, he's watching Wheel of Fortune, and someone just didn't get the final puzzle, even though it was smacking them in the face. Got like 8 of 10 letters. You can't miss that, Linda. You cannot miss that puzzle. Come on. I've been there, Morgan. I get it.
Is that the paddle boat clip?
Ooh, I have not seen that. I need to.
Oh. I'm a wheel watcher. Anyway.
Watching wheels go by. My. Sorry.
Yeah. That's good. Listen, I'm here for it anytime you want to put Morgan Wallen on the bottom of the list, and you don't really need a reason in my book, so that's fine.
I feel like I do it too much. I'm trying I'm trying to find reasons, and I found songs that weren't bad, and I've tried to push them towards the top. But man, you're making it really hard, man.
Yeah, this is a 2-way street, Morgan.
I mean, I'm trying not to, but don't make me tap the sign.
I think the reminder would be good for him.
Yeah, he might not. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately not, because this record will probably go platinum and all this fun shit. And
yeah,
I'll have to listen to a whole lot more of it next month because it comes out at the end of May, officially.
Yeah. It might all chart. It may
fuck my ears, apparently.
I hate everything about it.
I know. Can I please brighten it up now?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, please.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I have to do it with a musical confession. For the first time in quite a while in doing these monthly reviews, I have to confess I did something I tried to go out of my way not to do. I inadvertently listened to one of these charting singles before it was time to start reviewing, like out of context, and I try to never do that. So quick fourth wall break here, though. We usually hang out on the call after recording a show. We kind of shoot the shit. And the artist at number 1 came up with a recommendation from both Zach and Jay. He said I should check their latest out. There's a lot going on. It's a really interesting band regardless. And they were talking about a rock song. And I felt relatively safe in listening because,
rock doesn't
let's be honest, rock tracks don't hit the top 40 these days that often.
True.
Until they do. And I found myself with a song that I've been gotten addicted to for the last 3+ weeks, suddenly making an appearance in the Hot 100, and then on my monthly list. So to be slightly fair, I'm not sure that just shuffling Sleep Token's Caramel into the rock box does the song justice. Because like I said, there's too much going on there. The track easily runs through like 4 or 5 different genres in over 5 minutes. It opens with an airy ballad, and it adds in some more poppy aspects, including, like some dance and reggaeton in there for good measure. But there's also plenty of epic rockness for the chorus, and eventually like that heavier breakdown that drifts into the territory of metalcore. But I also find myself going against another of my kind of pet peeves in music, the "Woe is me, I'm a famous musician" song, which normally is rather annoying. And that's not to say that there hasn't been good songs written that explore the struggles of fame and such, but they usually don't hit well with me. It usually felt more like rich man whining about having to be rich when they come up. But that is the complete opposite case for Caramel. Yes, it is in fact about someone who is struggling with being in the spotlight, bemoaning the attention that comes with being in a band that's had some success, and even the insistence of some fans not to respect the measure that they've taken to preserve some semblance of privacy. They attempt to hide in the limelight, if they will. But instead of coming off as whiny, Vessel has set a therapy session to a melody, and we're all here to observe. Introspective while still building a very catchy and very memorable chorus, Caramel is the pinnacle of the large list of the band's influences, while also being that rare track that leans rock but has captured hearts and minds way outside of that genre's box.
Yeah, I think everything you said, especially around the kind of turning the "woe is me" fame monster sort of vibe on its ear, like just the lyric that always jumps out at me on that piece is "too young to get bitter over it all, too old to retaliate like before, too blessed to be caught ungrateful, I know, so I'll keep dancing along to the rhythm."
Yeah.
It just sums it up so well.
Yeah, I and actually like to kind of hop onto that whole train of like how it hits okay despite the fact that it's like a famous person saying "woe is me." He finishes that whole segment with "but I'm still happy you're here, so let me see those hands." Like he's out. I get it. Like I hate that kind of song too, but dude nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it's as had primo real estate in my brain since y'all recommended it like 3 or so weeks ago now. And I can't wait for the full record to drop. Also, I believe at the end of May, unless it's already out and I'm an idiot.
Beginning of May.
It is indeed.
As another fourth wall break, we're a little late doing this recording. It dropped 2 days ago.
Okay, thank you. I know what I'm listening to in the office tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Along with the new Spin Doctors record.
And a new Counting Crows if you want.
Well, actually, I would prefer that, I think.
If you want the little spoiler for that one from my sister, who is maybe the biggest Counting Crow super fan alive, meh. So,
okay.
I like it.
Take for that what you will.
But Sleep Token, yeah. Hopefully more of it charts. I would be surprised if it does, truthfully. But
Damocles has charted.
Oh, did
cool.
it?
Okay.
Yeah, it's sitting at number 43. So I don't know if it's going to hit number 40 for your purposes, Dan, or if it has already, perhaps. But it definitely has charted.
It'll be interesting to see. When I saw Caramel hit, it had just cracked in about 37 on the Hot 100 and then proceeded to plummet for a couple of weeks to literally hit all the way down at 100. And then I'm on the newest chart, which I assume it takes into account the album release. It rebounded up 10 spots to 90, if I'm remembering correctly. So hopefully at least Damocles will get in there, if nothing else.
I texted when you sent me the message saying that it made the top 40.
Yeah.
I texted another friend of mine who's also a huge fan of Sleep Token, and we determined that may be the first song ever to reach the top 40 that has elements of death metal in it.
Yeah. Songs like that don't chart on the Hot 100.
No.
At least
Exactly.
not that high. This is,
And it has an honest to
tremendous.
God, starting at about the 3.5 minute mark, has an honest to God blast beat.
Yeah.
Just doesn't happen.
No, and that like I think because I don't know if I want to say because of its uniqueness and being an oddity where you listen to, like I said, easily four or five genres in several minutes, or it just hit and enough people connected with that message that it picked streams up. I'm not sure which is more likely, but glad it's here.
Idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let
Yeah.
me see those hands.
Yes.
More of this. Let's let death metal in 2025 and 26 be what new metal was in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Dude, shoot, if Ghost is charting too.
Seriously.
There's a good shot, man.
Right on. Hey, good stuff today, guys.
Great stuff. Y'all had the change was working, the split finger, the slurve, all of it just really, really tight, really well controlled.
You know, at some point we'll have to dive into this, as I've noticed this is a term that's come up recently. What the hell is a sweeper? You explain to me what that pitch is.
I've read about this actually at some point in my life, like all of the different types of weird baseball pitches. And sweeper is the sweeping fastball is definitely one of them, but I just cannot remember exactly what the difference is.
When you called it the sweeper, I assumed it had something to do with Karate Kid 2, but I don't know.
Well, the more sports inclined listeners, maybe let us know about the music stuff and about the baseball stuff. You know, we'll take it all. We'll take anything you got.
That's true. Why don't you deliver right over the plate the best ways for us to do that?
I can do it. I will hit you from the batter's box to the on base circle. Starting with our Blue Sky Instagram threads and TikTok at Fairly KickAss. On all of them will get you straight to us. FairlyKickass@gmail.com will also get you straight to us, albeit in the email way and not in the social media way, because that's how the internet works. A little education for all of you. FairlyKickass.com for all of your ride-along playlists. One of us named me has certainly been lacking in that arena. It needs to pick that up and get back to that. I feel like the April reviews will be a really good time to do that. So expect that. Expect the playlists that are a little behind to be caught up over the next couple months. And the most important piece that y'all need, where to find us, is anywhere. Anywhere where you can get a podcast, you can get the Fairly Kick-Ass podcast. Apple Music, you can get us there. iHeartRadio, believe it or not, does podcasts, and we are one of them that they do. YouTube, also podcasts. We're there. And anywhere else, if you can't find us, just hit us up, let us know, and we will get on the podcast provider of your choosing so you can listen to us wherever you would like to.
We are everywhere and nowhere. We are the Universe Podcast, and we are Schrodinger's Podcast.
We are the youth of the nation.
Oh, God. Why?
Because it's a bop.
I don't think I've ever heard bop and POD in the same sentence.
Nope.
I will save more on that topic for musical confessions at a later date.
There's no getting out of this alive. Just end. No.
I love every time I think I have a bit to close the show, and it somehow gets punched right in the teeth.
It's what we do. We're so good at it.